if tower's on first checkpoint here, you want to be looking to take fights in this area so that the enemy team is positioned back here. And then no one's doing anything to the tower, and the tower's safe to continue traveling. So this is what it means by taking space as a Tetra, is you want to move in front of the objective so that they have to focus on you instead of focusing on your team. So your team's able to get a lot of points. Basically, you should like never be on tower. The main point is that we were sitting on tower and playing in this kind of perimeter on the tower basically the entire game, and we don't need to do that. It makes it harder. You being closer to the tower makes it harder for the tower, and it makes it harder for your teammates. You want to indirectly help the tower by taking space in front of it. So we're looking at, oh my, what is this team? What is this? What is happening? But I think as a Tetra, like we're definitely going to be in a really good spot. Our mobility can help us navigate around the bubbles from the blob, and our range plus mobility allows us to outrange the arrow sprays. So we should kind of be eating them up this game, but this is definitely these are interesting comps across the board. I definitely like blue team's comp a little bit more. We're playing TC. I don't think that changes anything. It makes me like Clash Blaster a little bit extra. I heckin' love Clash Blaster. All right. It's very straightforward with how they're going to want to play the game. You literally hold forward kind of idea, and they have a lot of chip between Clash Blaster, between Inkjet, between just Tri-Slosh as a whole, and Tetras. The chip that we have and the short range that we have needs to kind of stay in line. Like we don't have like burst bombs necessarily, but you know, we do have suction bombs. We do have splat bombs on the Clash Blaster, and we have an Ink Mist, so we can keep them in place. We can shift them around. We can outmaneuver them. So I'm feeling pretty good about our comp. There is a chance that they could potentially KO us. All their specials are super relevant, even though their main weapons are kind of they can, like, if they're able to chain all of their specials together, like they probably can push like the entire tower with just like constantly throwing booyah bombs. Like if each of them get 2 specials and they stagger their specials, this could get scary if we're not able to find an opening. So that's my only concern. I like playing out in kind of like these open spaces and like on the sides and stuff. It gives you a lot more room to be able to maneuver and roll around. And you can start, like, it is a good tactic to sit top mid if you're able to get there without the enemy noticing. If you can like shark in mid, you know, you can look for opportunities to drop down on either side and roll onto someone. But I don't like that we're playing very honestly like throughout mid, because there's just going to be a lot of action, and we should, as a Tetra, be able to isolate single people like on the sides of the map. Yeah, so there's two things happening here. We're still playing in mid. The other part is that we're rolling in a straight line. Like we may be looking over here, but we see that there's fire happening this way. And if we keep rolling to the right, from their perspective, we're just rolling in a straight line. But yeah, it's like when you roll into the other team, it's basically like you're effectively just like walking into them, and we don't want to walk into them. We want to be strafing side to side. So we were looking and painting this way, so the strafes make sense. But you know, this whole thing is enemy paint, and we did see some fire happening on this side. So if we were, obviously in this case, Rhys was looking kind of in the wrong direction because this pick already happened. But if we were taking this kind of fight, we want to be perpendicular to the way that they're like the way that we strafe. And the reason why it's important to be perpendicular and move like left and right from the enemy perspective is because that's going to give you the most speed from the enemy's perspective with angular velocities and whatnot. Oh. Team was winning fights, so it's good that you jump back. Again, we're still playing on the objective and we want to turn the enemy. Isolate targets and make them look either opposite of the objective or just opposite of where the rest of your team's going. And for something like the Clash Blaster or Tri-Slosh, like it probably makes more sense for them to be a little bit closer to the objective, especially the Clash Blaster, because they can have a lot of impact on the tower. But as a Tetra, you want to be playing off of the objective and be playing really aggressive, which is why why quick respawn's a really good option. But we're not running that in this game. Because yeah, we don't need to be sitting on the tower. Once tower's here, there may potentially be someone flanking this way. There may be someone up on like the snipe area and they may potentially drop out to the right side. But for the most part, the main majority of the enemies are going to be sitting in this choke point. So we could like going in, we could throw an auto bomb to check this area and see if there's anybody there. But based off the information we have, especially since we just got a bunch of picks, I can feel pretty confident that I can just move all the way over here and start taking a fight around this pillow. Use this as cover and then start looking to move like left and right here to take fights with these people. And look to fight right there would be ideal. Because if they're looking this way, then like the rest of your team can funnel in from this side. One of the things as a frontliner is that you want to take aggressive angles from, opposite the rest of your team. But I think there was a lack of awareness that they were running into two people, which is why they ended up getting spotted. Getting used to your new phone? Nice. Hopefully the new phone is an upgrade, you know? Yeah. And again, I think there's a consistent theme here that we're overly looking to play on the objective. Nice. Like once we start getting off the objective and we start rolling around, like we're a lot more comfortable. But we're just playing tower control suboptimally for how our weapon wants to play it. Because yeah, in these scenarios, we just start taking space. While tower's sitting in the spot, and especially since we have advantage, we want to start pressuring these people. So just like rolling at them up the ramp is good. Basically, as a Tetra, you should like never do objective. It's always better, it's better for you to start moving forward, and then, even if your teammates are a few seconds behind, getting on the tower or picking up the Rainmaker or, scoring the power clam or whatever the case is, it's better to let them look for those plays, and you make their life easier by giving them space. I do like the aggressive Reef Sliders, but yeah, now we're moving back to tower when we push them back with Reef Slider and we could start rolling into their spawn. It's like, this is great. And with enough awareness, you'd see that you split the two other people. Like one person got splatted and the other two went in two different directions. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to start moving forward and you can decide who you want to fight against. I think in closer ranges, it's probably better to play against the blob, just because very quick movement is going to make aiming for them really, really, really tough. And all three of these enemies see you taking these fights. They're all looking at you, and there's no one stopping the rest of your team from picking up the objective. But like, I can see the confidence in your Tetras once you get off of the objective. But the problem is that we're getting back onto the objective at every opportunity. This does make for a cool drip pick, but Yeah, because even now we're trying to get back on tower. Yeah, good KO. I think your off of the objective movement was good, but our priorities are definitely out of whack. But I do think your Tetra gameplay is good. So if we start focusing on the right things, I think we're able to climb pretty fast. We want to play in front of the objective. If tower's on first checkpoint here, you want to be looking to take fights in this area so that the enemy team is positioned back here. And then no one's doing anything to the tower, and the tower is safe to continue traveling. So this is what it means by taking space as a Tetra, is you want to move in front of the objective so that they have to focus on you instead of focusing on your team. So your team's able to get a lot of points. Basically, you should like never be on tower. The main point is that we were sitting on tower and playing in this kind of perimeter on the tower basically the entire game, and we don't need to do that. It makes it harder. You being closer to the tower makes it harder for the tower, and it makes it harder for your teammates. You want to indirectly help the tower by taking space in front of it. So the other thing is play sides of map. You can move in front, but I think in general, like your game plan out of spawn was basically the tower path the entire game. And then maybe you'd roll off a little bit, but you're playing in this region basically the entire game. And as a Tetra, you want to be able to isolate. Your goal is to isolate the enemy, use open space, and that's why using the sides of the map is good. Because if everyone's fighting for objective and it's sitting in mid, if you start moving around the edges of the map and get into this type of position where the enemies, you know, they're focused and their vision is forward. So if you can go through the outside on either sides of the map, we can look to take fights and catch them off guard, or at the very least make them uncomfortable because they have to look at two different directions, and that's impossible to do. It's going to be very uncomfortable for you to start playing in front of the objective and giving, you know, enough of a buffer around the tower so that it can move safely. And what that'll end up causing you to do is feed, which is good because that's kind of what you want to do as a Tetra. But, you know, you're going to feel like you're less successful. You're going to feel like, you know, again, super, super uncomfortable, but that's natural and that's part of the process. You're taking on a new play style with the Tetras, and it's going to take you some time to get adjusted to that and, you know, have enough experience and exposure in those positions to be able to start playing it better. So again, things will get worse before they get better. You're probably going to lose a little bit in order to start, you know, getting rid of some of these bad habits that we're going to address with these first 2 points. But yeah, again, I think your actual Tetra mechanic is pretty solid, but the way that you're playing it is not getting the most value out of the weapon, and it's going to prevent you from being able to climb at a certain point. Very potentially scary game, but I think you were able to navigate fights that you intentionally took. You were able to actually navigate them really, really well. So thank you so much for that.